So welcome back to bexbugoutsurvivor, and we've had a look at the polyester hoochie by DD, the 3x3. We've looked at the 2.9x3 ripstop nylon Superlight Tarp by DD also, and I left you with this thought. This is how compact I've got mine. This is the Superlight, but I don't want to keep it in this stuff sack. I want something a lot easier to use for me, so I'm using one of these. Just taken part of the ridge line down. I'm going to find all three of these loops here on the DD, which are bigger, by the way, than the N loops, and there's a reason for that. And I'm going to feed through the line through all of these. 1, 2, 3. Already have the hardware on, so this is what we have at the moment because I haven't connected it to the prusik, and we're going to add a snakeskin from DD, and that is how I'm going to carry mine. Just need to connect the ring to the little mitten hook here and move the prusik along like that. We get the same done the other end. Now what I do is I don't have the ridge super tight like a lot of people do, because I've seen too many people have this ridge so tight that these loops here aren't even resting on the ridge or the ridge line, so it'd be pointless having the loops if they're not actually sitting on it. And what it's designed for is to actually keep the ridge with a little bit of bow in, not a lot, just enough, so you can either peg to the ground or use guy ropes to pull it all out. And then that way I'm going to dig out some pegs, and you'll see how these will actually sit on this CRL here. And I'm not an external ridgeline kind of fan. I do like an internal ridgeline just to hang things on. So I've got another 2 pegs, and this will come into play. Straight through the webbing loop with these, facing the hook outwards so this won't jump off in the middle of the night. Love these pegs. Ensure I have the hook facing outwards. A bit of tension. Now your CRL shouldn't be absolutely horizontal tight all the way. At the tree end here, it needs to run down. Give it some slack, enabling it to run down just a bit, with these loops actually sat on the line. Now you have a look at other people's YouTube videos, they pull the ridge, the CRL, so tight that the actual 3 centre loops here don't even come into play. That's why these loops in the middle are larger, a lot larger than these ones here on the end. Now the ones on the end are really small. I've put in a little ring here, key ring, mitten hook. Now zing lines are really good for making prusiks of the same diameter. Usually you need a different size, slightly bigger than your CRL to make a prusik. Now I was getting fed up of getting all that line tangled up when I use the standard stuff sack. Mine's back in the pocket. I'm going to use a snakeskin, and for anyone who's new on the channel or new to snakeskins, it's a large long sack that is almost the length of the actual hoochie itself, of the tarp, and I'm going to put this on the line itself, so I need to disconnect and feed it through. And the best way I know to do that is to add some weight, maybe off the biner, and just drop it in. So taking the ridge line off one side, I'm just going to put a temporary loop in it and put a biner on. It's just a bit of weight where I can drop it through the snake skin like that, because it's quite long and needs to come all the way through. I'm just going to feed the rest of it by hand like this until it comes out of the other side. There. Now I can dispense of the biner. I'm going to untie the loop I made just to drop the biner through the snake skin. So I'm just going to put half of it over that way, the other half like that, and bring the snake skin back along the whole lot. I've opened up this side of the stuff sack and start bringing it all over the tarp. Here's the end with my little ring, so I can cinch this bit up here tight and continue to bring the snake skin over the tarp. And if I slacken back with the prusik, I can just tuck the end of it back in, like that, and tighten up. There. Let's have a look at that now. Off the tree into the snake skin, which is a DD snake skin. It was only about £9. I thought that was a real steal for that, keeping your hammock and tarp neat and tidy. You can use these for your hammock. I was wondering if I could actually put my hammock and tarp into this at the same time. I think I could. That'll need testing. I haven't tried, but for now this is ideal for me. If I'm stargazing, nice clear night, no need to bring it out. If I feel a bit of rain, I can just unleash one side, draw back and pull the whole tarp out. I'm going to show you the deployment of it now. And I have a ready to go tarp for the night, just needs pegging out. I think it's a little bargain. You can have an external CRL or an internal continuous ridge line, and it goes into the snake skin really nice and neat. Now it does increase the volume over the stuff sack that comes with the Superlight. I've not tried it with the larger 3x3 polyester hoochie. It's said to work, not tried it. I should imagine it would, bit tight maybe, but you can get a large and an extra large. I've just got the standard size, the large, which goes really nice with my Superlight DD tarp there. It only remains for me to undo the knots at the tree and roll 2 hanks on either side. I just do mine around my palm. You can do your thumb to little finger. I don't see it matters at all. I'm only making a hank. You know, it's a lot of people make a big deal out of stuff like this, and I wish they wouldn't. They make it difficult for the newbies. I'm really thinking of putting some hardware onto this CRL from Dutchware. Just little gadgets, one either end. He's got a little hook that you can put to one tree, and then a little zinger or stinger, I think it's called, a wasp, fleas with collars, and just itty bitty little gadgets that help you set up. Now I've got no problem knowing my knots, but I don't want unnecessary knots. This in the middle of a dark night would be a pain in the ass. There you go. Now I've seen some people at this point put this inside a stuff sack. To me that is like putting a stuff sack in a stuff sack. It's something I don't get. If someone could explain the logic of that, fair enough. But really just an elastic like that around it will stop it unfurling, and it's good enough for me. And it just sits under the lid of my either Bergen, or in this case a 65 litre. Sits on top, down with that, and I like the idea of that. Just putting it up round the tree, bring the sleeve back, in the pocket, bring some pegs, bang, done. Now if you continuously roll or fold your tarp, it will make stress lines, it will form a memory, and in each fold, if it's repeated over and over and over, it will weaken on that point. It will degrade, and you've just ruined your kit. Now I generally just used to flat pack my Sagasso, and that's 5 years old and it's still going strong, and that's because I've never folded it. Rolling it is safer than folding it to get more out of your kit, but alternatively stuffing a tarp just so it doesn't form memory and have weak points or stress points is going to be the way forward. Now the Superlight tarp, you can't stuff into its carry sack because the carry sack isn't designed for that. A lot of people will just get a different stuff sack to enable that, but for £9 of your money, a snakeskin is an all-round solution. It will actually preserve the longevity of your kit quite considerably because it's not forming stress lines. Also, I don't always have to pitch it out. I can just tie it to the tree, still being within its snakeskin. And if I feel a bit of rain, I can simply bring that snakeskin back and peg it down. Now I think snakeskins are going to be ideal for a wild camp or stealth camp. So that's been the DD snakeskin there. I really, really like it. I may even try and marry it up also with my parachute nylon hammock. I don't know how that is going to pan out, but there's only one way to find out, and that's just by trialing it. But for me, I'm done. So you've seen over a period of time the polyester hoochie 3x3, the Superlight 3x2.9, and now you've seen the snakeskin that I really like using. So until next time, take good care of yourself, and I will see you out there. I'm Bex from channel bexbugoutsurvivor, and I want to bling up my ridgeline for my tarp, and I'm doing that with Dutch wear. I have the Wasp and the hook. Now I could have just tied the hook on an overhand knot, but to be honest with you, it doesn't look that good. I can tidy it all up with a locked brummel, and it's spliced into the actual line. Not an expert at doing locked head brummels or anything like that, but when I was learning, the YouTube videos I was watching were all out of frame. I'll have made a video that's a little more clear for you, and certainly in frame and in shot. So before we get to that, we're going to have a look at the actual hook itself and how to use the Wasp, which is a line tensioner. Now I do know how to do my knots, I haven't got a problem with that, but I'm using zing line, and under tension it has a habit of slipping off the actual tension knot, and in turn it puts a knot where I don't want it. So I've threaded the hook on and we're going to make a loop. Using my guitar wire, I need to make a hole in the line here and take the guitar wire through it. I'm going to introduce the guitar wire coming from top down, open up another loop. Let's just open it up, put the threader through, and taking the long end, thread it through the wire and pull all this through the middle as close to the hook as we can, and we pull all this line through. Now from under the hook I'm going to come down some 2 inches and just snip this little tail here. So I need to come down at least 1 inch below this tail here and insert the tool here. Just feed it all the way up, taking my time. And the idea is to bury this short tail inside the core. Now before I pull this section here through the core, I'm going to strip out a couple of the threads to make this tail thinner. I just want to start unravelling the end. So I have 8 strands thinned out and I only need about half of them, so 4 strands to be cut. Just pulling up and over and stretching it out like this. So that's come through the end. Can discard the wire, and I need to just milk the berry, just pull it along until that tail completely disappears. Keep pulling and stretching. So there's one side on. Just using DD snakeskin for mine. I'm just going to see which end is which. But I have a hank of cord here which is going around the tree, and the section inside the hook is just big enough to house this 1.75 zing and lash it line. Mine's in grey, I don't like the yellow. And you can see it fits perfectly. Just slide it down the line against the tree. On the other side I have something called a Dutch Wasp. Now this wasp will move freely down the line just by pulling it vertically. I can pull it along towards the tree, but I need to lock it into place just so it doesn't slide when I don't want it to. This will be the stinger pull some line from it, put a twist in it, and put that twist over the stinger. Back to the Wasp, and I'm going to put it inside its jaws, which is this bit here underneath. So I'll feed the line into that and start pulling towards the tree to gain the tension. So that's pretty good there, it's where I want it. Now what I need to do is to come over onto this top antenna. So over the top antenna and behind the wing, pull. Now with them being titanium, both are pretty lightweight. This goes with my lightweight setup. I used to use paracord, but when it's wet and you make a slip knot, when you pull the slip knot off, it actually wears off the external casing of your line. I am going to test dyneema cord as a ridge line also. So a couple of days have elapsed for me, and what I found when I was using my zing and lash it line, I only had about 10 meters when I ordered it, and that's gone a little shorter, not a lot, just by making a couple of cuts in it, not by much, but it wasn't enough to get a longer span. So I have 15 meters of 2mm dyneema. Different animal, this one. My line is in black. It still just about goes on to the Dutch wear. So I've chosen a distance that has a greater span in the tree. And I'm just going to put it up exactly as you would. And let's see if we can still get the same kind of tension and everything with dyneema line. It's roughly about the same price as well, about maybe £1 a metre, something like that. But once you've got your line, that's it. It stays on the ridge, and unlike paracord, I kept taking that off, cutting it and using it for other things, as where my 15 metres of 2mm dyneema stays with the Tarp setup. Just take the pegs out of the centre of it. Straight away I can see the Wasp, so I need to unravel it to get to the hook. Hooks on nice to the 2mm again, push it up. I've locked off at the stinger, around the tree, into the jaws, around the antenna, into the wing, and Hank just hangs down, so I could get an even greater span, maybe even to that tree. I wouldn't have a span to reach at for the hammock setup because my hammock straps would be too short for that. I kind of know the span I want. I know what's too short. Sometimes if you ground well in and all you're going to do is put a bivvy and sleeping bag underneath this, then you can have a greater span, a much greater span of tree. So the lessons I've learned from this is 10 metres for me, not quite enough. 15 metres, and that's whether it be a zing and lash it line 1.75mm, or if you go for the 2mm dyneema like I have. I'm sticking with this, by the way. You're definitely going to need about 15 metres. It just stays with your canopy, and that's it. Set it and forget it. So that was quite a lot rolled into a short little video there. We've done a Lock's Head brummel, or at least a quick version of it with my capabilities. We've seen the difference between dyneema and zing and lash it. Both a similar kind of price as well, about £1 a metre. I should imagine it's every bit as good as the zing and lash it, but I'm sure if it's not, the commenters will know a little bit more about dyneema. The 2mm dyneema I've got is 12 strand. I like it, I quite like it. Now I've left my zing and lash it Prussic, and so far that's working for me. The damn squirrels have been at my nuts again. Gotta be up early in the morning to catch a squirrel out. And a little while ago in the video, although a couple of days ago for me, I had about 9.5 to 10 metres of zing and lash it line, and that wasn't big enough to span this, and perhaps I may have wanted it to. So another little tip for you, probably bring more line than you actually need. I've got 15 metres and I wished I'd have bought 15 metres of zing and lash it line, but if I did that I wouldn't be able to test dyneema. The extra I'm not using on the end with the Wasp is just in a hank there, and it's going to stay there. And I think that's all I can show you at the moment of how my lightweight setup is looking so far, and I'm quite impressed with it. I'm looking forward to using this for the warmer months of the year, because I don't think the Superlight Tarp from DD is going to withstand much of a gale force wind, unlike its counterpart, the polyester 3x3 by DD, which I've tried in very, very strong winds, and fair dues to it, it did a bang up job, it really did. So I will show you the Hyperlight kit and elements of it nearer the time, but for now that's all I've got for now, and I shall see you next time. Until then, you take really good care of yourself, and don't forget, enjoy yourself. Happy trails.